Hello, all. Welcome to Code Chaos Clarity. We are back here with another episode, another special guest with us who's an accomplished technology entrepreneur and very much, I can say, at the forefront of Make in India. Yeah, and in a segment which today almost the whole world is talking about, and all eyes are on India. That is artificial intelligence. So please welcome Dr. Pansare. Welcome to Code Chaos Clarity.
Thank you, Gauravji. It's pleasure to be here.
Dr. Pansare, can you tell us where you are originally from and a little about your early life, education, how was it, and what sparked your interest in engineering, technology, and all this side?
Sure. So thank you very much. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here. And the theme itself is very apt. I could resonate with every word of it. Well, coming to the my early days is that I'm a very much ordinary Punekar, I would say, or a typical Punekar, born, brought up, studied, worked with choice in Pune. Uh, and about my early days, I actually went to Pune University School for my primary education and Modern High School in again Pune for my secondary education. Did my engineering also from Pune, and my father is a mechanical engineer, and that actually inspired me to be an engineer. And I opted for mechanical engineering because I always wanted to learn, and I was very curious in my early days how factories work, how the machines work, and how they uh, create high quality products, goods. So, in that sense, I was always curious and inclined to learn the core branch of engineering, and hence I opted for mechanical. Actually, during my engineering days, I always dreamed that I will work for a engineering company, uh, mostly in Pune. But my father and my mom actually pushed me for the postgraduate education because my father was an engineer and he felt that I had talent and instinct to do my management education, which will also help me in later part of my career to climb up the ladder, whether it is the professional career or an entrepreneurship. So during my MBA days at the campus, I enjoyed that phase quite well. I studied in Institute of Management Education under the able guidance of Dr. P.C. Sezolkar. And he was the mentor. He was also very popularly known as the father of management education in Pune. And he gave us some very good inspirational motivation as how we can excel in practicing the principles of management. And during my MBA, I actually did my summer internship with an ERP product company, which was actually blending the experience of the how manufacturing companies do the material requirement planning, manufacturing resource planning, and these were my areas of interest in early days. And the ERP was actually giving that good system with the process integration. But that sparked a few things, on the career horizon as I was moving from a student phase to a professional phase, and that resulted me into accidentally get in IT. And that time IT was embracing the all multidisciplinary talent with the open hands, and that is how I landed up in IT job. And after spending few years in ERP, I realized that ERP promise is delivered when you implement business intelligence. So it was the phase one, level one for me, as how uh, the data that you generate from the process integration, multiple departments will actually operate with one system, and they will actually generate a good amount of data. In early days, how Gartner used to coin it as a executive information system and business intelligence. a term that was coined by the famous Harvard Dresner. Um, so the business intelligence actually gave me a good fascination towards understanding the systems thinking, management thinking, and human creativity. So I slowly transitioned from an ERP focus in my early days to business intelligence. And I thought that, okay, this is it, because it actually blends a multidisciplinary approach very nicely and cohesively in one discipline. So I decided to build a career in this stream.
But since you mentioned it's all been Pune all this while, how have you seen Pune change over these many decades?
Oh,
How was it like when you were a child?
oh, I mean that's a very interesting question. I mean, last almost half a century, I would say. And as a child who's been born in Pune and raised here, I've seen Pune evolve from maybe less than a 10 lakh population to about now 75 lakh plus. But beyond population, I stayed near Pune University, which is a very cozy area in Aund, lush green locality. And my early education happened in Pune University. So it was like as if we were staying in a forest. That was the feeling, that was an experience. We had two-lane road with one PMT bus that would actually come at a 30-minute frequency. And just this year, when the metro work was going on, for traveling about 4 or 5 kilometers, you would have to, wait in a traffic jam for more than 30 minutes or so. It has been an experience. The city certainly has, come up the value chain. But if you look at the historic importance of Pune, there are legendary intellectuals who have studied and practiced, lived their life in Pune. So the city has its own identity, it has its own structure. So to say, the being Puneri, people who stay in Pune are Punekars, but people who have a DNA of Pune are called Puneri, right? And I'm a proud Puneri. Um, there are so many things about the city, whether it is the weather, climate, whether it is even Pune people attitude. Uh, Initially, people think, especially the visitors and outsiders, that Pune people are very arrogant, or they talk less, they are less friendly. It is not that. They take their own sweet time to get comfortable with people. But once that acceptance, then Pune is a very warm hospitality and friendly culture. You need to understand, their language. In Marathi we call Puneri Tomne or Puneri Patya, right? So Puneris don't do ordinary things. They don't follow the protocols. They set trends. In that sense, the Puneris are, considered to be the trendsetters in everything, every aspect of life that they choose to do.
What I have heard is हर क्रांति का आरंभ पुणे से होता है.
Well, there are lots of on a serious note as well as on a lighter note. There are many good things that have happened from Pune. Pune has given lot of historic movements. स्वराज्य हा माझा जन्म सिद्ध हक्क आहे. The historic movement by our very own Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. And since then, if you actually see, the city has history. It also has very deep rooted culture, and it also has inclusivity. And if you actually see, Pune is a bowl shaped city. So the quality of water, the weather, as well as the food patterns, the quality of education, standard and cost of living, if you actually see all these aspects, that makes Pune as one of the best livable cities in India, in Asia. But the best part of Pune is Puneri people.
Was there a defining moment when you realized that all of this data, intelligence, technology could fundamentally transform industries? So was there a moment, an event, or something that you came across which led to that?
So after being studied the engineering and MBA, and I started my career in IT sector, initial years were very fast growth, glamour, international exposure, lot of travel, a lot of exposure to big fortune clients as well. I was happy, but I was not satisfied. So my first few years, from ERP to business intelligence, as I mentioned, that was a very logical transition that was happening. And IT is a very glamorous industry, but inside it's like Bollywood. Everybody wants to be hero, very less wants to be actors, and most of them end up in being extras. So, but at the same time, for that glamour and for that economic gain, if you decide to keep running in the rat race, even if you win, you end up being a rat. So I thought that was not really helping me be satisfied or to work with something that can really make us proud. In fact, one fact that used to always bother me, that we have so much of Indian talent and we work on so much of complex technologies. We operate technology, we provide services with technology. But why don't we pioneer? Why don't we design? Why don't we build technology which we are quite capable of? Whether you look at today's modern architecture and you look at whether creation of a Dwarka or a Hastinapur, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa type of cities, whether it is an engineering excellence, whether it is a systematic way of thinking and execution, India always had that legacy. Knowledge, we had Nalanda University, right? But in the modern race, probably we started lacking a few things. And as I said, that I'm an accidental entrepreneur. While I was going through some of these initial years, I reached a point of saturation. There was, I would not say any episode or an event trigger, but I reached that saturation moment. I said that, okay, life is very ordinary, not giving any intellectual challenges for innovation, for research driven work. We end up doing all stereotype things. And now that actually made me sit and do some chair thinking. Um, and then I realized that if you really want an autonomy, you can't hope and wait for opportunity. You have to create an opportunity. And hence in 2004, I decided to be unemployed or an accidental entrepreneur.
In terms of the journey, hardly ever it pans out as you planned. So, what problem did you uh, or were you trying to solve when you started, and what changed over a period of time? Like maybe you saw one problem and you saw an opportunity, and where you are now, like are you still solving the same problem? Are you still like going after the same opportunity, or things changed?
Well, that's a quite deep question and a profound one. Uh, in fact, the way I have evolved and I'm still evolving as an entrepreneur is that there is nothing certain in entrepreneurship. And if you accept that as a reality, a new normal, then entrepreneurship is fun. Because it's not only that autonomy that I want to work on my terms that might get you started. But what will keep you going is your passion for what you choose to do, passion to choose to do what you want to become and not what you get.
Yeah.
Because when you become what you aspire to become, you get most of the things that you aspire for. But at times, I have seen many people define what they want to get or gain in monetary terms, and it is easier, right? So my personal philosophy was to chase passion rather than pension. Um, and in that quest, what happens is that when going gets tough, you get going is only with your inner motivation and commitment. So while I was evolving in my early years, that there was a phenomenal opportunity I could sense. And incidentally, when I decided to bootstrap Intellement in 2004 as a first generation entrepreneur, I would say the third pure play business intelligence company in India and first one from Pune. We have a lot of system integrators and a lot of IT services company. They were operating in different domains. But I decided to bootstrap company with a very niche focus of business intelligence, because I could sense that it is less of a technology, more of a business strategy and going towards the decision sciences. And hence, it's like, art, artist and instrument. All three things together, in a blended way, you create a melody, right? It's not only stereotype that you just buy a technology, you just put some, service vendor and start consuming a service as a commodity. Whereas in business intelligence, particularly, if you actually see identical businesses, in initial years, we work with some of the large telecom companies, and incidentally, we worked with two, three of arch rival telecom companies in their business intelligence execution. The products were same, the spectrum, SMS in those times, and voice and data majorly. Now that industry has changed, but if you actually see, the product was simple, but their strategy and their customer experience approach was completely different. So this is one field that I felt that has a good amount for opportunity for business creativity and innovation, and hence I carefully chose to be in this field. But when you want to become the first generation entrepreneur, um, do it yourself. It's not an easy task. Even today, we remain bootstrapped and organically growing setup. And I think in this journey of last almost 22 years, we've evolved quite well. We worked with some of the fortune companies and nifty companies in Indian context, helping them uh, staying ahead in the competition. So this business model I conceptualize is not being Akbar but being Birbal, not being the Chandragupta or a king but being Chanakya. So how do you uh, create that corporate wisdom through different decision systems? And that actually makes you coexist and co-create with businesses. So it's like a rail track, you go long way with your customers. And Gauravji will be surprised to know our longest customer is more than 20 years with us.
Wow.
20 years uninterrupted business relationship, partnership.
What were the challenges that you faced in the first few years, the initial 5 to 7 years, whether it is in terms of acquiring customers, building team, or technology, whatever?
Well, for bootstrapped and a startup company, every challenge is a big business, challenge or an issue. Whether it is acquiring customer, whether it is building team, retaining team, whether it is execution, whether it is your strategy and innovation. In fact, our first 5 years, the foundation years, I would say, they were quite exciting because I had a team in 20s and the CEO in 30s, and that was the team composition with respect to its experience. But I had a very passionate and dedicated team that we built from ground up level. Beyond technology, what we instilled in them is to understand the way business operates and why business exists. And acquiring customer in that way has really never been a big challenge, because we believe in honesty is the best policy. When you connect with the customer by understanding what their expectations are from you as a long-term partner, especially in technology or a business intelligence uh, type of area, it actually creates a lot of opportunities as well as raises expectations. Now, if you are capable in execution, then sky is the limit. we always had a very small team in sales and marketing function. Majority of our business has been repeat business, or it has been the referral business from our existing customers. So we did face few challenges, but we never defined problems as the factor for limiting our capabilities. We always looked at them as the challengers to our potential, and how we could grow beyond those challenges. Maybe when I look at retrospectively these 5 year span, 4 stages, we have actually gone through 4 recessions. We've seen some of the best industry times, worst industry times, even today's turbulent times and the geopolitical situation that we see. The business always goes beyond the basics, and you need to have that foresight about how you would like to operate. And when you also understand the reasoning that why people will choose to work with you as an organization, what is that collective purpose of existence, then your challenges becomes easier to manage. But if you are a just me too company, me too business, and then you are wanting to do exceptionally good in one or two areas, it does not sustain. You have to look at your business model, organizational model, in a very holistic way in that sense.
What do you see now, right? Is that phase over where everybody just used to say, this is my dashboard and yeah, I need these reports? Or do you see it still continuing, or do you see that now are the organizations really getting on to the way of being data driven, or they are still like, yeah, having just one dashboard here and two reports there?
So I have been going through this journey from entrepreneur to enterprise, and promoter led to professionally managed. So in that quest, I look at this question from two aspects. One is, how do you look at, when we started as a technology from business intelligence to dashboards was one phase. Today, I would say dashboards are dead and AI is future. Uh, so dashboard is like your overwhelming information wrapped into a picture where you're trying to figure out that what has happened. But what is more important is that how do you know live what is happening, why it is happening, what is likely to happen, what you need to do while this is happening, so that you can control what is the outcome, a better outcome that is happening. So I look at that from three main stages: from business intelligence to artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence to decision intelligence. And when I look at in that sense, today's world, it is hyper digital, and more digital means more data. Even if you have to speak only in India context, India is an extremely data rich country, but we are a decision poor country. And what happens, just think of it. Today we are cheapest mobile internet economy. The cost of per GB data that has been generated by every Indian using their smartphone device is cheapest in the world, and we are generating humongous amount of data. Yesterday Pune poured, right? Last year we had unpredictable historic rains that happened. So what happens is that people would be like, when accident happens, everybody is actually, crowding and rushing, but very few hands to help out. That same thing is happening in the digital era also. I mean, in terms of natural calamities or flood happens, people will actually take the pictures and post them on the social media, what is happening, what is the impact. But what we need to do now, so whether the people stuck somewhere and animals stuck somewhere, is there any blockages that are happening that needs to be addressed? Can you have a drone like systems which will activate your autonomous intelligence, so that, oh, there is a flood that has happened because of the heavy rains. What government needs to do, what bureaucracy needs to do, what farmers needs to do on that day, on next day. So if I know that my crop is ruined, which is the scheme under which if I apply, I get instant direct benefit transfer, right? Now, I'm giving you very simple examples of things that happen in our day-to-day life. Now look at that, okay, if this natural calamity has happened and after doing the aerial surveys and so many meetings and discussions and data points being collected and maybe your state ministers and central ministers looking at that in a dashboard, by then your prime time has gone, right? You need to offer help there and then. And hence, I think it is timely that we move from business intelligence to artificial intelligence, because then your data crunching abilities, dispensing capability is more. But that is not enough, because autonomous AI systems, we are also talking about the hallucination of the large language models. We are also seeing that the explainability aspects, the ethical AI aspects, and AI is not going to be the final thing. It's just another way of how autonomous system works, and it has been there. We have coined and overhyped it as artificial intelligence, but what we really need to move towards is the decision intelligence. And that is the reason why I feel that the society industry needs to start focusing on these aspects more, rather than looking at AI only as a technological change or technological aspect.
Talking about the ecosystems, we always hear about that. Yeah, what we need to build is ecosystem that should enable innovation and all of it. But here, and not just in the local context, but the global context as well. What do you see? How important is really having an ecosystem that collaborates, and can it lead to acceleration in technology innovation?
Right. So it is like this, whether you want to be building an efficient ecosystem, or do you want to always exist under the dominance force? Because if you actually sit and think, there are, 5 to 10 global companies that are dominating the world of digital and technology, right? So the choice for every country now is whether you want to live under that super dominance, or you want to liberate. And if you want to liberate, you need to build an ecosystem, right? Recently, French government said that they want to go in a open technological way, and they wanted to actually come out of the dominance of some Western countries. And what is interesting is that when a developed country like France is saying that we want to embrace more and more open source technology because we want to protect our sovereignty and build systems that are more efficient and in the interest of our country, they cited example of India and India's digital public infrastructure. What we have done smartly as a nation and this government is very silently, they have already cracked the code. And there have been a huge digital revolution that has happened in India, and the digital public infrastructure is an infrastructure at a massive scale. It has set and broken some of the records in the traditional way. Um, I think we have not really marketed it properly, internally as well as externally. And hence, we are still under the influence that the way things should work in the technology or a deep tech way is only the way Western countries would want, to build. But beyond, I would say the regional race or a geopolitical race, we have to look at it from the innovation and impact point of view. The how you can create an innovation which is a sustainable innovation. I'll give you 2 examples, to help you understand. The digital payment, if you actually see, India has revolutionized. But one of the company, Google Pay, Google Pay is not as popular and as adopted in the US as much it is in India, right? So it is an innovation, but they actually are operating in India as a market. and it is the second largest player in India, right, with almost 34% of the market share. What does that tell us? Is that the innovation has to be disruptive to be able to capture and go beyond the market. Another very popular example I can give you is the Uberization, right? Urban transportation model for the passenger vehicles. Ola Uber is the most famous model for discussion when we talk about some of the digital success stories of India. This model is not popular in most of the developed countries because first, if when you pay millions of dollars to the taxi license, that business is affected. Secondly, there are no uh, population of a drivers that can actually sustain this model. Whereas what India has done is that it has actually turned the fortune of the drivers who are working for few bucks, 12, 15 hours a day, that they have actually turned a cab driver into a cab owner. It has uplifted their dignity and the social status. Look at the cloud kitchen models, Swiggy, Zomato models. Beyond the urban convenience, what it has done is it has created a huge amount of jobs for the delivery boys, right? Now, these models are not popular in the Western countries first because the scale that it requires of the human involvement is in India, and hence India actually is at the perfect stage of equilibrium where technology or digital and human can coexist in unison. And that is why I feel that why it is India's time now, and we have to leverage, and we have to leverage it smartly. Don't just operate with it, innovate with it, and scale. Even as a domestic market, I see a huge opportunity.
See, Make in India is essential, no doubt about it. And recently, and I heard we had Asia Economic Dialogue in PIC recently, where Baba Kalyani himself was there, and he rightly said that unless we change our mindset, unless we get to a product mindset, even with probably Make in India, we will never get to that position that we want. We will never become leaders, right? And he said that yes, we services is great, has been great. It has probably got us where we are, but beyond this, we have to become a product nation. And for that, one of the things that we have usually heard and we have discussed, what lacks is probably here in India, we don't have people with, and you cited Google Pay, it's like coming up with a product vision, right? So, how do you see that? Like, you have developed products, yeah, but we haven't seen those many and that kind of products coming out of India. So, how can one go about it? Developing a product vision while balancing market realities and customer expectations, everything.
Well, I mean, you are right. One of the reality of Indian intellectuals' psyche is that they lack product thinking. And when I'm saying product thinking leading towards product development, it is not working in the service industry with a service mindset, but sometimes on a public forums talking about the product. And I was recently at one of the GCC summits, very popular and crowded one. And people are really worried about the emergence of AI, what happens to the service sector. And everybody is talking about the AI and agentic AI ways of doing it. Incidentally, I could sense that many of them are thinking AI as a service. And I could actually feel that these are IT Sheikh Chillis. They are cutting the branch that they're sitting on, and they don't know, they don't have the sense of future. I'll give you some examples, right? Look at coffee, Starbucks coffee, right? We have so many coffee outlets. Look at South Indian coffee. It is prepared, in the same delight in every household. It is sold at such a massive scale in India, right? Serving tea. Look at your Starbucks as the ambience, coffee as a product, and maybe free Wi-Fi so that people actually go for more convenience. But the way that business is conceptualized is a product thinking. And now if you actually see one of the local brand called Yevle Cha, that Yevle Cha is not only Amrutulya type of a business model, it's a product thinking. Same activity, but look at how they have created the franchising model out of it. Pune will have thousands of Amrutulyas, but now if you actually look at, Yevle has consolidated at least hundreds of them as their franchisee. Now you see shift in thinking. Look at McDonald's and look at Joshi Vadewale. End of the day, it is the product wrapped, or the patty that is wrapped in the bread, but their thinking and approach towards that is different, right? Me working in an IT services company and building a product for the customer is a limited product thinking. It's like, you have the writers building in Calcutta, you have intellectuals writing something for as a knowledge for somebody who is ruling. But how are you translating that knowledge to create something which will change the way people live, consume goods and services? And hence we need that product thinking. In my personal philosophy, adopting product thinking is not very difficult. It is a systematic way of thinking and approach. And I'll give you a very simple example. What I have seen is engineering taught me how the systems operate. AI taught me how systems learn. And entrepreneurship has helped me to understand how systems evolve. Connect the dots and you will see that how we can make things better and different. Not that data science or AI was not there. It has been one of the branch of statistics. Artificial intelligence has been existence for last 30-40 years. Now we are looking at them as a autonomous decision systems and using digital technologies, how they can be working in more easier, affordable and scalable manner. And hence it has a potential, especially in a country like us. And I always quote this example, look at UPI, right? You need technologies like UPI, which actually creates a differentiated experience for every user, whereas the user is bringing their own device as a last mile connectivity. You see the disruption? No private company is providing technology, whether it is a hardware or a software, right? And maybe few years back, as a cynical view, we would say that it is not the government's business to be in the business. Look at the way UPI changed the way business operates. In payment is every part of business, and in the payment you have the fintechs and the digital wallets, but the underlying tech infrastructure is given by the government as UPI, right? So now these are big signals and changing waves that I would say that for the first time I'm witnessing government of India is progressing faster than industry and digital, and probably innovators are still trying to figuring out and they're trying to copy the Western models. So Digital India is not only patriotic slogan. It is not something that you do on Independence Day or Republic Day to feel patriotic. It is a big business opportunity. The CEO of a European Union comes and when she announces that it's a mother of all deal, and then it actually creates a historic opportunity for the entire Europe and India with 2 billion population. If you read between the lines, out of that 1.5 billion is Indians. And do we really need everything from the West to come and tell us that this is a huge market opportunity? It's high time that we realize, and hence thinking from Indianness point of view is a huge economic mindset that we need to embrace. And in that context, I made that comment.
So, if you are to advise the young founders and the aspiring AI leaders in India on how to go about really developing and launching products for the world, what it would be?
Well, I mean, my first message to them will be, don't go behind AI as a hype. Do something with an intent, and you will gain more. Let me give an example, and let me give you our own example. So when we started as Intellement in 2004 and evolved in 2020, I felt that there is a need. We understood the business systems pretty well, from business intelligence to artificial intelligence. And I realized that one side you have proprietary technology platforms, other side you have open source technology. But first there was a missing element that made in India in data science. The second important thing which was more global and which was more relevant was, if you look at data science and AI, today what happens is that every enterprise is data rich, but they are decision poor. And when they have some systems that capture the data, there are some systems that connect and consolidate this data, store it meaningfully. Then there are systems that will actually do their AI and machine learning modeling. Then there are systems that will do their business intelligence and data visualization. And then there are systems that will actually help them in doing AI. And now we are talking about connecting all the dots with automation and how things can be agentic. So we are talking about the system of systems, at least 6 to 8 systems in every enterprise that exist. Why those silos? So we reimagined that how can we change this? And rather than you having these systems in silos, if there's one single system that can actually handle this, how it will change the way people build and consume analytical applications or artificial intelligence. And that actually gave a birth to an idea to be productized as Rubiscape. And in 2020, I incorporated Rubiscape under Digital India startup program. And it is 100% made in India technology made for the world. And what it has done actually is it has, it offers one single studio that actually, or one single platform that has these different studios for, data ingestion and pipeline management, data science and data visualization and Gen AI as one single software source code. By that, what it does is that it actually optimizes the need for computational resources operating in siloed systems. It also makes the pipelines more faster, from data source to your analytical models to your agentic AI applications. And it is a horizontal application which can be leveraged for verticalization. And you asked a very prominent question, that whether it is deep tech or AI, AI is a team sport. We can't play it solo. And the way we envisage is that we have created a technology horizontal that actually helps in verticalizing the AI applications in a rapid way. So you want to build some application for healthcare, say for hospitals to home, because the hospitals are lacking the capacity for the beds. And for example, I'm feeling little uneasy. I have a minor ECG challenge and hyperacidity and maybe shooting blood pressure is causing me inconvenience. But if I get a tap to oxygen for 24 to 48 hours, I should be fine. Today, I have to go with all my physical printed report with consultation and recommendation of a doctor to be admitted in the hospital and be admitted there and be discharged. Can I simply dial a healthcare brigade as a service? They come, they investigate and say that, oh, you need actually a tap to oxygen, but be at home and we will send in next 30 minutes the portable, oxygen cylinder, and you can be at home and, things can be taken care and we will remotely monitor it. So sitting at home, we can order food from 4 places. And because we are, hotel industry is booming, hospital industry is booming. Healthcare is more essential. And if you actually slice it, that what are those generic services operational services which are creating chaos at the hospitals, and which are critical services you need to be hospitalized only. If you take a load of that 40 to 60% of the load and conceptualize a model, hospitals to home, and then like Swiggy, Zomato, delivery boys, you have the healthcare brigades who are actually carrying the different kinds of pathological tests and some easy tests, and there is an ecosystem of doctors. Today you have some tools and platforms, but they only help you in booking the appointment and storing the records. Can we move from systems of records to systems of intelligence, systems of autonomous decisions? And when we are thinking about that as a nation, as an ecosystem, not only we are doing service to the nation, but it's a huge business potential. If you have the robotic doing retina scan with an easy goggle or a robot at home, do you know the statistics? 7.5% Indians are visually impaired under the age of 15, as per one of the report published, which means at least 10 to 12 crore of a population which is available in that segment. But we need to investigate, we need to create a record, and then we have to fulfill that as a service. Now, can AI robotics play a role there? And imagine if you are getting retina scan of at least 10 crore affected people, and through say Ayush Ministry, there are some initiatives that government is taking up. The sample size of 50 crore to 100 crore retina scan reports, your AI and machine learning models will give you accurate results. Look at that sample size. And India has proven it, whether it is CoWIN app, whether it is UPI, India can build and operate and scale the systems, for that kind of a volume. What is a big opportunity for deep tech and AI is that don't just do this as a service for some Western countries who are building the products in AI and claiming yourself to be working in the product industry. Create some innovative applications, right? Today, one of the spectacle company, they actually have this, right? I mean, their brigade come home and they actually take your number and then suggest you on their tablet that what kind of a spectacle that you want. The retina scan is actually done at your home. Can you put that into the healthcare larger ecosystem? So that's why I said that we are a data rich country, decision poor country at a massive level. Now, government alone can't do it. We need ecosystem, and we need tech people who will change their mindset. And this is also our social mindset. If you are intelligent, you have to study engineering. If you want to be good engineer, you have to be an IITian. If you want to be successful IITian, you have to work in the valley. You understand? And then when the most eligible bachelor has to stand in the marriage market, these three ingredients will say, oh, he's wow. While used to debate the Puneri way of debating, I used to talk with my friends. I say, Prashant, your ideas are so brilliant. You're building this technology. You know what? You should be in the Bay Area in the valley. I said, why? My mission is to transform Sahyadri Valley like a Silicon Valley. We need an ecosystem, and why can't we do it here? So, jokes apart, point I'm making is, if you look at the market potential, if you look at the massive digital public infrastructure, what other ingredients you need is a talent. India is the global AI talent supplier already. The IT and digital skills are transforming into an AI skill. What else you want? So we have all the buttons, or all the dots there. We just need to connect, right? And if you connect those dots, India becomes a much more vibrant ecosystem. We are already on that path. We need to shift gears. We're still in that, first and second gear mode of operations. At least I see a good optimism in Indian industry now. Few years back, people were very skeptical. Yeah, nahi hoga. Ease of doing business, or so many other, social as well as industrial and bureaucratic level challenges and constraints people had. Scenario is changing, and it is changing very fast. And I think we as a society needs to start embracing this change. There's a big opportunity.
Great. Really had a great time, Dr. Pansare, and knowing about what's going on, and given with leaders like you taking the lead there, I'm sure India really is on the right path towards not just make in India but made for the world. So thank you for being here at Code Kiosk Clarity, and we wish you all the best in your mission at Rubiscape. Thank you.
Thank you, Gauravji. It was wonderful talking to you, and thanks to your crew as well. On a concluding remark, just one addition to your concluding statement is that my mission is to move from Make in India to Made in India, and Made in India, made for the world. So, when we embrace that change, an understanding of Make in India and Made in India, sky is the limit for us. So, thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you.
If you like the podcast, you know the drill. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.